Well, Bradford Ferguson is too exciting right now. I'm kind of getting long in the tooth, and I'm not sure how much my heart can take. I mean, we got president going before the United Nations today and telling them off.
Mm.
I was wondering if he was going to provide them with an eviction notice.
He should have. He was getting some electrical resistance along the way. The resistance was in full force. Apparently, the escalator stopped as soon as he got on it. They cut the mic as soon as he wanted to speak. So they're doing a good job resisting him.
It's true. It's true. So he had a lot to say, but then after he talked, then Powell jumped on. Or I guess maybe
Mhm.
it was before. I don't know whether it was before or after President Trump. Powell had something to say, and as he usually does, he crashed the market.
Yeah, Powell said stocks are too dang high.
And down we came
Yeah.
tumbling down. So, do you think anybody should pay attention to what Powell says about whether stocks are too high?
I don't think it was impactful in the past when he said that. So I wouldn't think like this time is different. I know the Fed did like seeing stocks go down. I think it's like September 2023 or something like that, where they had done their raising, but they really hadn't seen the market come down. Um, I know that's a factor. They look at the whole wealth multiplier from the stock market
Sure.
in making some of their decisions. As a factor that goes in. Um, but I wouldn't take it super serious.
Okay, let's talk about wealth accumulation and wealth factor and wealth multiples, because
Mhm.
obviously the market is, what is it? S&P 30 times this year has already had an all-time high after 50 or something last year and 50 the year before. I don't know, something like that.
Mhm.
I've lost the numbers now, but we've had 2 years of over 21% S&P growth, and now a third year, who knows, could get there. How are your conversations going with your clients and or associates in terms of whether they think the market is stretched at this point, or are we just getting started?
So typically our clients kind of are going along with the market. Myself, I tend to be more contrarian. So when the market's going very strong, it tends to make me nervous. So the image I have in my mind of kind of where we are right now is we're above the clouds. We're above the clouds. We're in the mountains. I think you're vaguely close to Big Bear.
Yes, I
Uh,
am vaguely very. I can look out my window.
mhm. So it feels like we're at some heights. Yeah, I'm not calling a market top, but it does feel like people were kind of giddy and FOMO, especially the way we ended last week. So today I'm taking the place of Nick, or I don't know if
Yes,
it's
yes.
Nico or
Nick, yeah, today, yeah.
Nick. And he's been nervous about the market. He said as much over the weekend as well. So we did see some sell-off yesterday and today and some AI names, Oracle being one of them. Um, Nvidia sold off today, after their announcement yesterday. We can talk a little bit about that
Mhm, mhm,
in a
mhm.
bit. So it seems like the market's finding its footing up in the mountains.
All right. And if it doesn't fall off to its death, we'll all be okay, huh? So, all right. So, I mean, like for instance, we've got gold up 40% in 1 year. It
Hmm.
seems a little crazy. I have not declared gold to be a sell yet. I do occasional statements other than Tesla. Like right now, I'm saying that the 10-year bond will not go above 4.15. And I've called the bond right a couple of times this year, 4.5 and 4. I'm sorry, 5.0 and 4.5 as tops. Right now, I'm calling 4.15 as a top, but I haven't really ever called gold one way or the other. But right now, up 40%. Would one think maybe that's just crazy?
It seems a bit extreme, but Trump is using a lot of gold and remodeling the White House. We did see that tour last week, so he is taking some gold off the market to do that. Um, people expect the Fed to lower rates, or AI to cause deflation, and typically gold's going to be better when inflation's lower.
Mhm, mhm.
So maybe gold is, sometimes the bond market tells the Fed things, but maybe gold is trying to tell the Fed something.
Okay, all right. Well, then again, I'm going to ask you what your clients are saying, but you're suggesting maybe they just listen to you, which that would be maybe a smart thing to do. But what do they
Yeah,
say
in general, that I'd say they're pretty complacent.
placing?
Um, our experience is they're happy with the results they've had this year,
Right?
in general. So you know, they don't seem to be that concerned, which generally is going to make me concerned, make me a little
Okay.
nervous because I'm contrarian. So.
Sure, sure, sure. So then what about Tesla specifically? Tesla right now is crazy, but and I know I'm the I'm the optimist of the year, but there's hardly any risks right now. Even if you look at the analyst reports that have been coming out this week, they're over and over again, they're saying the only real risk is failure to execute. That Elon is out there, he's charged up, he's ready to go, he's in warlike footing. According to Dan Ives. He's focused, according to one other analyst. Other than a failure to execute, that seems to be the only thing that could go wrong. Are your clients also fairly optimistic about Tesla's as a price at the price it is right now, going higher, or are again just listening to your advice?
Well, I think what could go wrong here is sometimes, uh, with events with Tesla, we have a run up 2 weeks before instead of the week before.
Mm.
So I remember the We Robot event. There was this run up 2 weeks before, and then it sold off the week before the actual We Robot event, and then I think it sold after the event too. Um, I expect the production and delivery numbers to be really good. Um,
Do you have a number yet?
may not be quite as good as what Brian Wang is saying, but I I wouldn't be surprised by a number over 500,000.
Okay.
Just my feeling. So I haven't done any like hardcore
Okay.
numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not Troy Test like or anything. Is I think they should easily match the Q3 numbers of last year, and I'm hopeful that they're delivering over 500,000, and I think this would be a pretty big positive shock.
What
It'd
about
have very good implications for earnings, but also cash flow. Be a further accumulation of cash.
what about the energy deployment? Do you have a number in mind yet?
I'm curious to see China really start to turn on a little burst, or show some speed there. Um, and wasn't Lathrop down a little bit last quarter? So
Yes, no, yeah, it was. The overall deployments were a little light.
yeah. So maybe with how that can be a little lumpy, as you suggested, maybe we get a positive surprise from that as well on production and deliveries, because now they're reporting on that.
So I'm calling that we will stay under 440 until October 2nd. And then after, well, maybe potentially, if a lot of the analysts are starting to raise their number before October 2nd, we could break 440. But then I'm saying 440, we come in at close to or around 500,000. We come in at 13 or 14 gigawatt hours, and the stock breaks through 440, and we're on our way to all-time highs. Crazy?
It could happen. Yeah, I'm really curious to hear what the China mega factory is doing, or to see some kind of burst from Lathrop. So yeah, I'm curious about this. So I think it could happen. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I
You're
think automobile is going to drive more of the excitement, though.
as
That's
usual.
just my sense.
And to ask one more time about your clientele, and they might be right leaning in their politics. I don't know, but is there any sense of optimism from them in terms of the overall economy, given all the stuff that the president is doing, or is there some concern over all the chaos, or both?
We have people of both sides as clients, and I'm not just saying that to be diplomatic or anything. Um, I think it's people are fairly neutral and they're not doing the kind of reading that you're doing into the economy or looking through things. Like the media really isn't focusing on how strong the economy is. So I think your average person who isn't devoting much time to this doesn't really know.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, you brought up Nvidia a minute ago. Of course, Nvidia bought $100 billion worth of open AI. Are they? I don't know.
Or they will be over time. So
They will
like,
be over time. Yes.
yeah,
And I'm assuming that they're just going to, the Nvidia is just going to take that 100 billion and turn around and buy Nvidia chips with it. I guess
yeah.
they'll be buying some other stuff to go along with it to set up their data centers. So, what were your thoughts about that?
So, people had concerns that it's circular in nature and Oracle is also involved with some of these contracts. So they're just wondering, okay, are they just kind of like pumping each other up and is this just one big bubble? Um, so I asked my brain, okay, what's another way to look at this? And I did this before I went to sleep. And this actually can be helpful. And I got an answer this morning.
Aha. Okay. What did your brain have to say?
So if you look at Microsoft, they did the same thing with OpenAI, and now they own half the business. And
Right.
Microsoft is thrilled. I'm not sure how much money Microsoft has put in total, but I feel like it's been like 30 billion or less. And now they own half the company. And they started off by Microsoft would buy the servers and then they would give OpenAI $10 billion in compute.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
did a couple of those deals, and then I think there were some funding rounds that Microsoft participated in after that. So they're thrilled with that. Now, that doesn't mean that OpenAI stock is going to continue to increase as much in value. Um, but that shows that it can work, and Microsoft is thrilled with their
Yeah. Yeah.
investment.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they quite 10x their investment yet, but it's got to be pretty close.
In 2 years or whatever, 2.5 years.
Yeah. Um,
Or it was longer than that, right? Is it like 4 years now, 5 years, 4.5, something like that? Yeah.
I feel like it's closer to three, but I,
Three.
I know OpenAI has been around longer, but
Yeah.
as far as like
When Microsoft got in.
putting up tens of billions for compute, I think it's more like 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Um, The other thing that came to mind is Nvidia is generating a ton of cash. So over the last year, they generated 72 billion in free cash flow. So that's cash before they spend it on either paying down debt or buying back their stock or other things.
Hmm.
They had 75 billion in operating cash flow. So those numbers are very similar. I'm guessing they bought back as much stock as they wanted to. Um, I don't think dividends are like super exciting, so they're not really doing much of a dividend. So one other thing that Nvidia can do is they can invest in other companies, um, and you know uh, they also make a lot for every dollar in revenue they have. So their gross margins are over 75%, I think,
Right.
or at least it's over 72.
Yeah. Who's counting?
So, so for them to lose from this outright, um, versus that when they're awarded the stock from OpenAI, the stock would have to decline by almost 70% for them to lose by this deal,
Right.
just on a outright basis. So I don't think this is terrible for Nvidia to do, but I think the easy reaction that people had was that this was um, a very risky behavior or not very smart.
So all of the hyperscalers are spending massive, massive amounts. I mean, Facebook is spending maybe the most, I'm not sure, but Google's certainly spending, Microsoft is spending, all these guys are spending massive amounts of money on this, on the AI project. The only person, and again, I'm not trying to be a Elon Musk, sycophant here, but Elon seems, even though he's putting in more compute than anybody, except maybe Google, he's doing it in a way that seems to be taking into consideration scarcity of some kind, that there's not just funds galore. And so it seems
Mhm.
like he's, as usual, getting a much higher potential ROIC. Does it matter, or is it really just who wins the race to AGI, or does that even matter? Is it really going to be, three or four players are all going to get something out of it? What are you thinking about all that?
I think one thing Elon's doing is he's not like pumping all the future numbers into one number.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Yeah, so the $100 billion that Nvidia is giving OpenAI, this is going to happen over 2, 3 years, and maybe a little more. And I think the first one might be like 10 billion. And so Elon recently raised 10 billion or something like that. And so he's doing it one step at a time. So he's not announcing his $1 trillion or whatever that if he ends up making a like a it's not a gigawatt, but if he does like a terawatt scale compute, that might be a trillion, on the orders of trillions of dollars. Like he's not throwing out those kind of numbers. Um, but you're right in that Elon is very efficient with his capital spending and his R&D spending. He's one of the best capital allocators for businesses with both of those. So like on a dollar per dollar basis, Tesla gets far more from their R&D compared to anyone else that's not, doesn't have Musk at the end of the name of their CEO.
Yeah. So do you think it matters? Do you think it matters whether he's good at that or not? Or is it really just a matter of who gets there first?
It matters incredibly so, and being able to execute on these projects is it's not something you can just wave a wand and point to somewhere in the ground and this thing gets built and it works. You can't just snap your fingers. So they found this out with their Colossus project in Memphis, where they had to solve some really hard engineering problems, and Elon was able to do it in a period of time that others thought was impossible. So I think famously, Oracle said, and this is Larry Ellison, this is going to take a couple years. It's not possible. And so Elon, after that meeting, figured out a way to get it done in 4 months or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think the first one was 119 days or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, crazy stuff. All right. And again,
I
the
think it's a huge advantage
okay.
uh, to have Elon Musk in your corner, just so efficient.
Right, right, right. And do you think that there will be multiple winners in the game? So in other words, if Elon is first, if XAI is first through AGI, and then Microsoft and some of the other hyperscalers are like 6 months behind or a year behind, and Musk has figured out how to do um, uh, they're not calling it recursive, but um, learning actual uh,
Learning on a job.
yeah, learning on the job, so to
The,
speak.
the training, training at the edge or whatever.
Yeah. So if Elon's all by himself for 6 months on that, is it over for everybody else, or do you think it's going to really split into niches of where each is finds their way?
This is just my sense. I don't think it's going to be winner take all. But if it's 18 months or longer, um, I think even being 6 months behind is pretty dangerous. Um, so you look at so there's something called agentic AI that you can use to program, and we've done this in our business, and it makes our programmer 10 times more productive.
Right.
And so he was able to do 90,000 lines of code in 3 months, where without this, he'd maybe do 9,000 lines of code in 3 months.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so um, you have these different methods of doing the workflows to get the AI to help you automate. And um, if you're behind or your system isn't working as well as others, like word gets out, and eventually a business is going to find out a way to make a break and try out the thing that's leading.
Hmm.
Um, so there's definite risk in being the number two or three player in this, but I don't think it'll. My sense is that it won't be a death knell.
Okay. All right.
I,
Okay.
I don't think you want to be the number five player though.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so you and Larry Goldberg, you guys are both pretty entrepreneurial, and apparently you got your
Mm.
heads together. Um,
Yeah.
and you've come up with some kind of a new idea, which you're all excited about. And so tell us about your new idea.
Yeah, so there's a number of people who are already doing investing in Musk Industries and Musk adjacent industries. But what Larry approached me about was investing in a way where we can have capital to help expand or be in service of the light of human consciousness. Where it's impact related, but also, hopefully earns a profit because things that are profitable will be sustaining over time, right?
Right, right.
So that's why that's important. Um, and so we've identified a couple companies that we're excited about, and so I'm going to share my screen here. So the brand that Larry and I are doing this under and is called LumaSenti, and it's capital in service of the light of human consciousness.
Okay.
And so you can go to lumasenti.com if
Uh,
you're interested. This is for accredited investors or qualified purchasers. So typically, this is people with more than $1 million to invest.
gotcha.
Uh, with any venture capital, and we'll talk about this in a second. There's risk of losing all your money. So, we don't recommend that people put a majority of their money in private equity. Now, if you did that in SpaceX, you're pretty happy,
Yeah,
but
no kidding.
there's certain risk, and liquidity is one of them,
Sure.
in needing access to your funds. So if you're interested in that, you can hit that you can go to lumasenti.com, hit the join us, and we'll be in touch. And one of the first things we'll be in touch about is the first opportunity. So it'll be like a Shark Tank
Uh-huh.
episode. So it's not like the other investors will be fighting each other, but we'll get to meet the founder, get to learn about the business, and be able to ask questions to the founder. There might be a board member there, or someone else who is invested in the company, where we can learn more about it. Um, so with any investment, we're looking for some kind of advantage that the company has, and
Mhm.
it's called a moat. So it's an advantage that gives the company either the ability to deliver something at the lowest cost or creates the highest value for the customer. And um, we're finding companies that may have both of those, but they're very early in their lifetime. So there's some uncertainty and risk.
So without, I know you can't give away any names yet, but it's about human consciousness. I know Larry has had a great deal of interest lately in some of the folks that are providing infrastructure for manufacturing companies because of all the new manufacturing that's coming into the United States, and he's been getting some good results there. That doesn't sound like it's related to human consciousness. What does human consciousness, what is an example of a company that maybe isn't on your list? Maybe it's a public company already. That would be the type of company you're talking about.
So I'll
Oh,
just I'll say we're looking at a couple of companies where there's some medical applications
okay.
that are new and do not have um, a technological answer to currently,
Mhm, mhm.
and that are pretty exciting. Um, so helping people with their health is one of them. I'll say this, so like um, one thing Larry said to me when he approached me was that we don't want to find the next great like delivery app or fund the app maker that fixes some problem with an app. We want to find companies that have a true edge that are bringing something unique
Mhm.
to the table.
Okay.
Um, and so if you're helping people with their health, you're helping human progress. So that's one way to express it, but it's going to take different forms over time.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So that's getting started. People can go to that website and check out what's happening as you develop it, as they can be
Yeah.
watching your entrepreneurial activity, happen right in front of their own eyes.
Yeah, I'll just show that one more time.
Okay.
LumaSenti.
Sure. LumaSenti.
And I like these logos, so I did a logo contest.
Okay.
There's a website called 99
Yes,
Designs.
I know about it. Yeah.
And you can pay a bounty, and then a bunch of designers will come in and make designs for you. And really love the logo that we ended up choosing.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So super excited about that. And one that I didn't want for the company, but I just loved was I'm using as my X profile picture.
Okay.
So I changed my profile picture on X, and that's why I changed it. Um,
Was that interesting robotic head?
yeah, it's like a guy who's look. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's
Okay.
a guy who's looking to the stars,
Ah, yes.
and inside his head is a bunch of stars and a comment. So let me see if I can, let me zoom in here. Just so people know that it's me and not like some kind of crypto scam or anything.
That's right.
I may have to grow back my
There we
hair
go.
for this one.
Yeah, yeah, I have to go ahead.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this guy's almost as handsome as I am. Yeah, yeah. Close.
Yeah.
So, all right, very cool, very cool. Yeah, so yeah, of course, we're right on the cusp of creating the cover for the new book. So
Hmm.
I probably wasn't gonna use 99 this time. I actually found Sarah, my Philippine she's become my, she was for a
Your
long
editor.
full-time assistant, and her husband
Hmm.
became full-time also for many, many years for me. I found her through 99.
Wow.
She designed a cover for one of my books years ago, 10 years ago. And
Hmm.
and out of that relationship, first it was 10 hours a week, and eventually it was 40 hours a week, and then her husband too. So anyway, yeah, I love that. I love that again, what they call it, 99.
99designs.com.
99 Designs, yeah, .com. So if anybody's out there looking for a design or a logo or something like that, or a cover to a book or a website homepage, they'll do any of those kind of things.
Yeah, and once someone submits a design, you can have them tweak it,
Yeah,
show it different colors, fonts. You can have them edit the design
I
if
think
there's
I got
something you don't
about
like.
I think I got about 50 different
Yeah.
designs when I did it. Yeah.
Mhm.
At the time, it was like $300. I bet it's gone up.
It starts at 300, so,
It went to 300.
that's where it still is, yeah.
Wow, look at that. All
And
these.
I think it's a deal.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good deal. Okay. All right. Well, what else is
So
going?
tell me about your VC experience. I thought that was interesting. You were talking about different manufacturers and the decision to
Oh,
either work with them and how to work with them.
okay. Well, so like you were talking about that this would be kind of like Shark Tank. And I had, I don't know, for probably 25 years, I was like a little mini Shark Tank because we were a manufacturer.
Hmm.
We also had two rep companies. We had a rep company that sold to distributors only, and we had a rep company that sold to dealers only. And so the industry, the whole bicycle industry, they didn't really want to see all these inventors because you can imagine the bicycle industry, it's an inventor's paradise. Everybody's always coming up with a new derailleur or a new wheel or whatever.
Hmm.
And so the other people in the industry, they didn't want to see all these inventors because they're just a pain in the butt for most of them. So they would just go see Randy. And I loved it. And I would get all these guys in, and then we could decide, oh, we'll rep, you make it, we'll rep you. We could go, we'll make it for you, and sell
Or
it
license it, yeah.
or license it. I mean, there's all these different ways that we could go. And then we ended up opening an advertising agency as well so that we could advertise all of these different products. So we had all these four different companies going at one time that were all kind of feeding one another in terms of these new products. It was so much fun to see these people of all ages coming in with great ideas and or sometimes really horrible ideas
Mm.
that you'd have to send. Sorry, that one's not going to work out. But yeah, I think you'll really have a lot of fun with it. It's
Yeah.
truly fun. Yeah.
Yeah, Larry and we've been working together on venture capital, just for ourselves for a while, and we've gone through a few deals. So Larry really respects how I think through things, and it could be a journey. Like you have to keep an open mind, and you got to question things, um, and think about things in different ways. And so I think that's why he respects how I think, and I'm really honored by that. Larry is a serial entrepreneur and has had a ton of success with
Yeah.
Sapiens decisions over time, and
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so I'm real thrilled, and it's yeah, I enjoy thinking through companies. Um, it helps me learn about industries. The more companies
Yep.
I look at, it helps me learn. Also thinking about, what obstacles they may have in their rollout and how they've resolved those obstacles
Sure.
is interesting to think through.
Yeah. So do you anticipate in this venture that you would have enough of a position in any of these companies to get board seats or to actually, have much of a voice?
Um, but yeah, that could happen with, maybe the second one that we're looking at.
Mhm.
Um, so it's not as important. Like the thing that is important to us is, having the right people on the board, that have the actual industry experience or help them with a crucial obstacle. So unlocking a potential obstacle. Um, so if like FDA approval might be an obstacle, maybe someone with a FDA experience or something like that.
Sure, sure, sure.
Um, so that's more critical, for me. than me having like that direct view myself. I think it'd be really fun to be on a board, but it's also can be a lot of work if you're to do a really good job as a board member. You're looking at, well, depending on the stage of the company, it could be quarterly meetings.
Right.
Tesla's board meets on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
At one point, I was crazy enough, I'll confess something. So I was crazy enough to apply for investor relations for Tesla.
Oh, okay.
This was before Martin stepped down.
Yeah.
Um, and I learned that they have board meetings every month, and they have investor relations has to prepare the packet for that
Okay.
for the board meeting. So
Yeah.
you got to get the all the materials ready, and you think about the pressure of, it's not just Elon Musk, it's 𝐤𝐤𝐝𝐲,
Yeah.
Elon's brother, like all these important people, Robin Denholm, and getting their materials right. You have all the quarterly reports, and then the impact report.
Yeah. Yeah.
IR, I think, has a very heavy hand in putting that together, if not like doing it completely. Um, so, um, that sounds like a lot of work. So I prefer to kind of, watch from the outside and hopefully like get the ability to have my questions answered and learn a little more, some nuggets here and there. That's my preferred role.
Yeah. So the $25 an hour wasn't gonna didn't entice you that much. All right. Well, just for fun, let's look at Tesla and see. We're not going to look at all the numbers because they're not out yet. So we're going to look at Tesla and just see what happened in the after hours after being down 1.93% to 425.85, back up now to 426.41. So just a tad back up in that direction. Again, I've already pointed out, I think it's going to have a real hard time getting above 440. That's like a really good ceiling. And it's bounced off it a couple of times now. So that's my feeling. What do you think? What do you think about my idea that we'll be at 2000 by the end of 2026?
I think you need um, probably 100,000 robotaxis for that,
Good. Yeah,
but
that's exactly right. Yeah.
that could happen.
Okay. All
It
right.
depends on like all the state rules and that, how quickly they could roll things out. I do think version 14 is going to be very good. But safety isn't the only reason they have the monitors in the robotaxis.
Hmm.
So the monitors are also giving feedback as far as pickup and drop off and
Right.
other things relating to these rides. So it's not just about, what the car does in a given situation.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's not just a safety thing, it's also a whole rider experience thing. So these people that are sitting in the passenger seat in the front row, robotaxi, they're not just there to hit the stop button in an emergency. They're there to give really critical
Sure.
feedback as the rollout happens.
Sure. Sure.
So Tesla may be attached to them in various cities and states as they roll out, but depending on how good V14 is, and how quickly they can figure out things like pickup drop off and
Mhm.
airports, hotels, it's really good at pickup drop off at hotels, so it's better than Waymo is. So I was at the Embassy Suites and on South Congress in the initial area that they rolled out robotaxi, and it would pick me up in the special area where you drive through at the hotel, and but Waymo dropped me off at the curb on a busy street
Mm.
in front of the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not That's not good.
That's not good. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you've got
Not good.
four pieces of luggage or something.
Yeah, and it could be dangerous, but it's also a hassle to other traffic. So if they can quickly scale that, and you could put 100,000 in the right states. I think you could easily put 50,000 in Texas,
Hmm. Hmm.
and probably more than that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think they
That's a country, though. That's not a state.
I think they would also have to have pretty significant numbers of optimists in working, and not just working in Tesla factories, but working at customer factories with some feedback from those people, like we did with Pepsi. Coming back with, yeah, it's working great. Are you kidding me? The thing goes
Hmm.
20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we've had no downtime, or we've had a little bit, some kind of KPIs on actual optimists that are deployed. So that's my theory.
And that would likely be a condition of being an early Optimus customer, is that if we ask, you will provide
Yeah,
some feedback that we can use publicly.
yes, 100%. In fact, I'm expecting Pepsi to be one of those customers. I think because of the relationship they've had already, it would make sense in the distribution centers, even maybe the bottling facilities. They'd be perfect for bottling, be perfect for packaging Fritos and things of that nature. So there's a whole bunch of places in the Pepsi organization where the bots could go.
Yeah, I would not wish someone to, work at a potato factory or potato chip factory. You you end up stinking, at the end of your shift, because of the smells of the foods and the oils and all that stuff. Um, I think that'd be a good place to get Optimus.
All right then.
You're making me hungry, Randy.
Making you hungry just thinking. Well, it's getting close to your dinner time, very close to your dinner time, I suspect. All
Mhm.
right. Well, you got anything else? Or
No. For now, I'll just say check out lumasenti.com, LumaSenti, and
I think you
if
left out an N in there. No, you didn't. There's
Senti, and
Senti,
then yeah, it's not Luna as in the moon,
oh,
it's Luma as in light.
luminescent. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
And
senti as in sentient.
if you're interested, you can click the button that says join us and then fill out the form, and you'll be hearing back from us.
All right then.
Let's just let's get right to the numbers. Are
Oh,
you doing
there you
some
go.
numbers?
I was
You doing
waiting.
numbers?
Come on.
Okay.
You know your job.
Sorry, I messed it up. It's a Tuesday.
All right. Well, I'm now going to have to put you on pause because the numbers aren't out yet, but I'll be right back. I did want to just give you a quick roundup of the different companies who have made dramatic increases in their price targets over the last 5 days. We've got Goldman Sachs, Mark Delaney going from 300 to 395. We've got Baird with Ben Kahlo going from 320 to 548, from 320 to 548. You've got Piper Sandler, Alexander Potter. We talked about that in detail the other day, going from 400 to 500. We have got CICC Research, which I didn't report on because I didn't see it until now, going from 360 to 450. And then, of course, Mizuho, which I reported on this morning, going from 375 to 450. So these are all people raising their price targets in the last 5 days. I think we're going to see some more over the balance of this week. And again, I do not think that this will be enough to get us over 440 until we get to October 2nd. Or again, we could get some movement into October 2nd, which could get us there earlier than I expect. But that's, it's all ballpark. There's nothing specific in any of this. We never know until we get there. All right, so back to Tesla again is up 0.17% in the after hours. Now let's go to the bonds. We have got the bonds sitting here here we go, down another 1.2. So we're now at 4.1, let's call it 4.11. It's a little less than that, but 4.11. So now we're 4 basis points underneath that 415 that I said was going to be the top. I think we're just going to keep going. This is exactly what I said. Again, I'm sorry, but when I'm right, I'm going to talk about it, because when I'm wrong, I'm going to talk about it too. Right now, I'm right on that one. And I think we're going to just continue to see it go down, down. back into the threes, but it'll be just a little bit at a time over the next month. We've got oil up a little tiny bit in the pre-market to 63.65. That's up 24 cents. Natural gas up 0.14% to 2.86, so still under $3. Gold finally getting trimmed a bit after all-time high after all-time high, down $17.90. Silver also down 31 cents. And copper is unchanged at this moment. Then we've got Bitcoin, man, unchanged for the day as well, down 123. That's the same as unchanged. And Ethereum is up 0.84%. So whatever, I didn't look into any details of why Ethereum dropped like 5% yesterday, but it seems to be slowly but surely pulling out of that, whatever the reasons were. All right, let's look at the equities here. We've got the Dow up 0.05, S&P up 0.07, and NASDAQ up 0.10. So the pullback today, of course, was all about, I believe anyway, all about the Federal Reserve Chairman saying that he thought stocks were a little hot right now. And I think that's all going to be worked out over the next couple of days. Doesn't mean it'll happen, tomorrow. But right now, I don't see stocks pulling back. I see stocks trading flat. I think Tesla will trade pretty flat. I think the overall market will trade pretty flat. There's always going to be those exceptions, when big news hits. But I think, and there could be big news on Tesla. Trust me, between now and October 2nd, we could have V14, start going out to the early adopters. We could have, the safety riders come out. We could have 50 or 100 more cars put on the streets in Austin. There's so many things that could happen in the next few days, things that we're not even expecting, as happened when Elon bought $1 billion worth of stock a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago now almost. All right, so that's where I think we are. Those are the numbers for today. We got Brian Wang coming up later tonight. He will get deeper into the technicals, and we've got a couple of great stories that we've already lined up. We're going to record that in just a few minutes. And so Brian Wang later tonight. Now that'll be a fairly early, I would say probably 6-ish, as opposed to my normal 7:45. It might be 6:30, something like that. And because this one's going to be out early, so that one will also be out early. Not a normal, is it a normal day tomorrow? No, tomorrow we'll have Brian Wang at this hour at the the good news section. And after Brian, we'll have Brian White at night. So the Brian White show that would have been on tonight, that'll be on tomorrow night. So that's how that's going to play out. Okay, that's all I got for you right now. As always, it's been great talking to you.